Hello and welcome to Christian Weather Broadcasting. Repent and put your faith in Jesus because only He can save you from hell. We deserve hell for our sin. We also deserve death. But Jesus can save you from hell, which is called the second death. Alrighty, everybody, we have two new systems that have formed. Phillipe, or Phillipe, depending on how you pronounce it, has been around for a couple days, and Rina is pretty new. So let's get right into this forecast. I'm also going to be focusing on some weather events that will be happening for the mainland U.S. Let's get right into that right now. So, our new storms, right here is Phillipe, and right here is Rina. Interestingly enough, I was watching a newscast of the storms, or video from a newscaster, and these storms are forecast to do a Fujiwara effect. And I learned that is the reason we're going to see Phillipe kind of pull back up into the Atlantic Ocean, because Rina's going to be out here and pulling him up. And eventually, according to forecast, the two will combine possibly into one storm. But what's really cool, and also kind of rare, is to see that Fujiwara effect happening. Now, another thing that we should probably mention, and that's going to go into our main forecast, is there is a ridge affecting the United States, and that's going to be keeping some nice weather in your area. But let's get to more about the tropical weather, and then we'll talk more about that ridge and some of the coming colder weather. Alrighty, everybody, Phillipe, 45-mile-an-hour wind, 1,003 millibar pressure, 2-mile-an-hour wind, and it's forecast to just tool around as a tropical storm out in the Atlantic, as I showed you how it's going to be pulled up. Depending on track, it could possibly affect some islands, but based on its news track, I really don't think it's going to be doing much of any effects. Let's take a look at our wind speed probabilities here. You can see the Leeward Islands looking at maybe 10 to 20% chance of tropical storm force winds. So really nothing that's at all a major threat. Arrival time of winds will be around Sunday 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., maybe Saturday 8 p.m. on the early 8 p.m. into Saturday night on the earlier end for winds arriving in those areas, but nothing to be at all worried about. Rina's going to be tooling out into the Atlantic as a tropical storm. Again, nothing really big with that one. And it looks like it's going to be a fish storm. So there's really nothing to worry about with either of those two storms. Now, as I said, you can see very obviously on the satellite imagery a ridge affecting the United States. And after watching Ryan Hall, y'all, I was watching him, and what that will do is keep warm air in the central part of the United States, and also he mentioned that it's going to break. That ridge will not stay. And what I'm interested in is what's happening after that ridge. So, as forecast in his video, colder weather in those western areas, because that ridge is not going to be there, also stormier. But let's watch. You can watch this ridge here. I'm going to highlight it right here. You can see it. Watch it. It starts to move, and then it goes away. And then what we have happen is, I believe, a low-pressure system is going to move in, bringing some cold weather in. You can see there's going to be a cold front moving down south, and what's going to happen is that's going to bring some chilly weather to some areas. You can see here, as low as 53 degrees, so in the 50s for North Florida, and all the way down to South Florida looking at 65, so mid-60s to maybe high 70s, and that's around October 7th. And what's going to happen later on in the week, or later on in the future, is there's going to be even colder air coming in. So you can see probably 30s to maybe high 20s up north, so that means frosting possibility. So, let's go to our precip and moisture forecast to see exactly how much rain is going to be around that time. I'm going to go to the MSLP and precip around the time when we get that cold weather. So as you can see, a high-pressure system is going to move in, so it doesn't seem that there will be an extreme amount of moisture in the area. So you may get some level of frost, but I don't think it's going to be a major freeze at all. So, expect for your forecast as Ryan Hall said, some nicer some nicer weather in the Midwest, but eventually that's going to go away, and cooler weather is going to dip down into the southern states, and you're going to start experiencing some colder lows. So you can see for a large part of the southern United States and in the Midwest, looking at low 50s to even colder 30s. So do expect that. And your highs will probably be in the mid 70s to 80s, depending on where you live exactly. Now, let's get into tomorrow's forecast with the GFS model. So tomorrow, 24-hour rain accumulation, looking at some possible rain in Florida, maybe under an inch of rain total accumulation, some spotty rain in Louisiana, some spotty rain up north in Pennsylvania, but nothing over an inch in the Midwest. Again, doesn't look like anything over an inch, maybe possibly an inch in portions of the Midwest, and on the West Coast, Western Washington, just under an inch of rain, and California is going to be remaining pretty dry. Texas and some other states could see some spotty rain, but nothing too major. Temperature forecast. You can see tomorrow, looking like down near around Orlando, 87 degrees. Up north, it's going to be around maybe high 50s to low 70s, maybe high 60s. In the Midwest, looking around 90s. Up towards the Canada border, high 60s to low 60s, possibly 50s. And on the western side, 40s, looks like high 40s, mid 40s to low 50s to possibly high 50s. In Oregon, in Washington, 50s. And in California, looking up to those warmer temperatures. Texas is going to be leading us tomorrow in the hotter weather, with around 91 degrees, and Oklahoma actually leading with 93 degrees. And Texas and Oklahoma, actually, I just looked, both could get to 93 degrees. Sorry for that little mishap. And now it is time for the GFS snowfall forecast. So, it is fall now, so I'm now going to be doing forecasts on snowfall. Spotty snowfall going to be around the border of Canada and Western Washington, it looks like, up in the mountains tomorrow, and as we go throughout our week, some spotty snowfall in Idaho and Montana, but nothing major. Midwestern states could see over an inch of snow, and it looks like, more snow is going to be affecting the Midwestern states. You can see some areas going over an inch of rain, possibly, a couple inches of rain, I think. And, let's see here. Also, doesn't look like there's going to be much more snow. There is going to be some snow in Maine, though. So if you live in Maine, get ready for probably under an inch of snowfall. So do get prepared for the possibility of some spotty snowfall throughout the country. But that's basically what we are seeing. Thank you for watching. This has been Christian Weather Broadcasting.